My name is Frank Pergolizzi. I'm honored to be the Director of Athletics at Husson University. So I'm going to start tonight's program off. Tonight's group of inductees is the 33rd class to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. It's probably the largest, since this is the first year where we've inducted 10 individuals plus a team. I would like to start with a special welcome to 17 individuals in the audience tonight who are already members of the Hall of Fame. 5 of them are members of our coaching staff. Jason Harvey, who is also our head baseball coach. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's let the inductees stand and wait to the end, and then we'll recognize them all at once. Warren Caruso, who is our head men's basketball coach. I'm going to get Dewey to help me up here in terms of keeping the classroom under control. Bruce McGregor, who is our former men's basketball coach and a current assistant golf coach and chair of the Sports Hall of Fame committee. And Kissy Walker, who's our head women's basketball coach. I said there were 5, there's really 4 that are here tonight, I'm sorry about that. Dewey Martin is a member of our Hall of Fame. Bobby Campbell, Sue Allen, Susan Skinner, Mary Whitehead, Michelle Wood, Pam Hennessy, Linda DeVoe, Buster Frederick, Sean Bolden, Mark Taylor, Karen Wardwell, and Rick Sinclair. Okay, now, round of applause. Next, I would like to introduce our other head and assistant coaches who are with us tonight. Gabby Price is the head football coach. Coach Price was named ECFC Coach of the Year this fall. Again, we'll have them all, we'll recognize them all at the end. Mike Dugas, head golf coach. Butch Babin, swimming and diving for both men and women. Michael Craig, men's lacrosse. Sabrina Smith, field hockey. Sabrina is also a former Clara Swan Award winner. Josh Warren, women's tennis. Josh was Coach of the Year this fall. Dorian Gilmartin, women's lacrosse. Diane Ramsey, softball. Pat DeBeck, women's volleyball. Janine Gemitter, who's our head athletic trainer and associate athletic director. Janice Clark, our administrative coordinator. Then 3 members of our sports information crew who are responsible for a lot of the stuff that you're going to see tonight, particularly the videos. Samantha Spargo, who's the director of sports information. And then Thomas Branch, who's a sports information assistant. And Simon French. Simon is really the video guy. So Simon, thank you for all your hard work. Okay, we can recognize that now. I had to turn the page and see what my notes told me to say. Last but not least, I would like to ask all of our current Husson student athletes to stand as a group. All of them. I guarantee you that in that group, there are some future inductees down the road. There are a smaller group of student athletes who received special recognition during the past year, and I'd like to just recognize them as well. And again, hold our applause till they're done. Gavin Dugas was the NAC Golfer of the Year. Eric Dugas, brother, was the NAC Golf Rookie of the Year. Robinson St. Tard was the NAC Track Athlete of the Year. This is a good one, men's soccer. We have 2 men's soccer students here tonight that were both named Senior Scholar Athlete. So the men's soccer team is really smart. Josh Bellamo and Rod Ganayam. Anne-Marie Provincial was the NAC Field Hockey Defensive Player of the Year. Allison Kondracki was the NAC Track Rookie of the Year. Haley Ward was the NAC Field Hockey Rookie of the Year. Ashley Matlock was the NAC Tennis Rookie of the Year. Kwan Soini was ECFC Special Teams Player of the Year. Kwan, I still don't know why they ever kicked the ball to you. Brad Weston, ECFC Offensive Lineman of the Year. Elvin Suazo, ECFC Defensive Player of the Year. And Jen Jones, NAC Softball Pitcher of the Year. I'm sorry, so let's give them a round of applause. At this time, I am pleased to be able to introduce Dr. Robert Clark, who is the president of Husson University. Dr. Clark is an outstanding leader and the man behind Husson's continued growth and progress as a great university. Dr. Clark and his wife Trish are passionate fans of the Eagles from both near and far, and if he's not at a game, he's likely watching it on his phone or iPad or whatever contraption he travels with. Both Dr. Clark and Tricia consistently demonstrate true dedication and support for both the university and to our intercollegiate athletics program. Please join me in welcoming the 6th president of Husson University, Dr. Robert Clark.
I would say that I am most fortunate, and I should make special mention of Frank and Mary Pergolesi and the role that they play in making certain that athletics runs like a well-oiled machine. And so I'd like them both to stand and be recognized by all of you. I did ask him if I could mention that he only cost me $250,000 this week. And he said, you could say whatever you want, but I should at least explain this in the process. Many of you might not appreciate the enormous growth that has transpired in Husson athletics over the past number of years. When I arrived in 2010, we had 265 student athletes. We now have over 500 student athletes. And I can assure you that Newman Gymnasium hasn't gotten any bigger. And so as a part of that process, we have been able to make a transition. Some of you that know their space know that they have shared this with the Kanduskeg Institute, which is a research institute that does human dynamic research based on physical therapy. So we're moving them to another location. And we're going to be able to construct some 2 additional locker rooms right next to the Swan Center. So that is very near and dear to the process. And so he cost me this week. But that aside, one of the things that I most marvel at is the skill set. When I read the backgrounds of those of you who are award winners and recipients, it's just awe-inspiring amongst those of us that spend most of our time sitting up on the back bench, not on the front bench. And to observe the dedication our athletes have to their craft as a Division III team, we don't pay and have the availability of athletic scholarships across the board. And so that our student athletes do this in performance of a love of the game. And so when we look out there and see what your skills over many years have brought and the talent that you brought to Husson and demonstrated on the field, on the court, in the pools, and other areas of our sports program, you certainly should be commended for that talent. But I should also put in just a little bit for those of you that have not been back to your alma mater in a number of years. This year we celebrate the 50th year at one college circle. The institution moved as a whole from downtown Bangor in 1968 to a campus that consisted of a dining hall, 3 residence halls, a basic core academic building, and the Newman Gymnasium. That was the campus. And now, today, moving fast forward, we've invested over $75 million in the past approximately 12 years in facilities. We have a gorgeous 500-seat auditorium that has acoustic preferences for the community. We also have 3 brand new townhouses that we built and brought forth that are fully occupied. We have almost 1,200 students living on campus now in campus housing. One of the most major things we've accomplished is a renovation of our dining commons. It's now a showcase that we actually are proud to bring guests to. Not that it wasn't before. But these things have been possible because of the support of our friends, our alumni, and our students. And when I tell you, you'll see a campus that's different if you haven't been on campus in a while, many of you who are award winners and coming from away. Some of the things are not fully seen. If I told you the facts of life, that we've just finished a $7.5 million bathroom project. All of our residence halls have been integrated into more personal spaces for their restrooms. Those are the kinds of things that are achieved as a way to move our campus and our learning community forward. If you're on campus tomorrow, you'll also see a steam shovel that is actually building the foundational ground for a new wellness learning center, a $4 million project that will open for classroom participation in the health of our students by August of 2019. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that then the next project on our horizon is a new College of Business building. And we're in the active fundraising part, and that's the last you'll hear about fundraising tonight. So in this process, the continuous evolution of the campus has a vision for the future. And I can assure you in our thinking, one of those pieces of vision includes a response to a student question I received at a town meeting. And they asked me if I were going to be willing to add an extra lane to the track. And I said, what track? And they said, the one you're going to build us. And we do have a vision of a field house in our future, down the road, if you will. We're a fiscally responsible institution, and we need to make sure that we marshal the right resources for the right opportunity that comes our way. So I want you to know you have been part of our legacy and history, and we're proud of all of your accomplishments, and thank you for coming this evening. Have a good evening.
Okay, at this time it is my honor to be able to introduce to you the 2 outstanding student athletes who are going to be the recipients of the Clara Swan and Del Merrill Awards. Both of these awards are named after the 2 individuals, but they basically are Athletes of the Year, as selected by our coaching staff and actually the entire department staff. The accomplishments of these 2 students are well documented in this evening's printed program. I think we have 3 pages about John and 2 pages about Kenzie, so you can read that to your heart's content. We have a video that you will soon see. So I'm not going to repeat all those things, but I wanted to take just a few moments to talk about Kenzie and John. I can tell you that between Kenzie and John, the 2 of them represent 7 conference championships and 2 NCAA first round wins. I will tell you that between the 2 of them, there are so many great plays, you can't count them. There's so much leadership, you can't measure it. I personally will never forget the impact that John has had on our football program and Kenzie on our women's basketball program. Both of them get the job done all the time. I could go on, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you see the videos, and then you'll be able to listen to Coach Price and Coach Walker on the videos, and their words exceed anything that I would be able to say or do. So let's start with Kenzie. Come on up, Kenzie.
Kenzie Worcester produced her finest season in a Husson University women's basketball uniform and one of the best in program history in 2017-2018, while helping lead the Eagles to their third straight North Atlantic Conference championship. The junior guard averaged 18.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1.6 steals per game, while shooting 48.7% from the floor, 39.7% from three-point range, and 82.3% from the free throw line during her junior season, after which she was named First Team All-Conference, First Team All-State, and NUBA Third Team All-Region.
Kenzie brings so much to our program and to the team, but her leadership is exceptional. She's probably one of the best, if not the best leaders that I've ever had. Kenzie, I don't even think her teammates realize all she does and all the times that she thinks about them. It's not unusual that I'll get a text message from Kenzie saying, "Hey coach, did you know that so-and-so didn't feel well today?" Or texting me because, "Hey coach, maybe it's time we should organize mentors with the girls, hooking up the first year players with the upperclassmen." Or messaging me, "Did you see that our recruit so-and-so scored 18 points last night?" She just really thinks about everybody on the team as well as the team and what can be done for the team.
Last winter, she led the team in nearly every category excluding rebounds and blocks. Worcester ranked second out of all NCAA D3 Northeast Region players in total points with 539, fourth in minutes played with 1,005, sixth in field goals made, seventh in free throws made, 11th in points per game, 12th in free throw percentage, and 14th in field goal percentage. During her junior season, she also collected NAC Tournament Most Valuable Player honors for the third consecutive season, as well as a COSIDA Academic All-District, NAC All-Academic, and ECAC President's Honor Roll accolades. No stranger to receiving awards, Worcester has now earned 54 individual honors during her collegiate career. This past season, Worcester became the fastest player in program history to score 400 points in a single season, while becoming the first player in 20 seasons to surpass the 500-point mark, en route to finishing the season with the most points scored in over 28 years, which ranks second all-time in program history. She is also the first player in 20 seasons to average 18 or more points per game, while finishing her junior campaign netting the third most field goals in program history.
I believe they all know that she knows what she's doing out there on the floor. Kenzie, and we're very, very fortunate in that she has a very high IQ, probably the highest IQ of a player. I know I mentioned one of the tops with leadership, one of the tops with IQs. And they know when she speaks to them that she probably is correct.
Worcester's best week of the season took place in the beginning of January 2018, as she led the Eagles to a 2-0 week after averaging 29 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. In a 76-63 win over Southern Maine, in which Husson snapped a 5-game winning streak for the Huskies, the junior scored 22 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, dished 5 assists, and snatched up 3 steals. Worcester continued on her hot streak, tallying 36 points against Maine Maritime, the 4th most points scored in a single game in HU history, while netting an impressive 20 of 23 attempts from the charity stripe, and was one of 3 players in the nation to make 20 free throws in a single game in 2017-2018. She also recorded 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block in the 8-point victory. During the game against the Mariners, the guard surpassed the 1,000-point mark and set program records for free throws made and attempts in a single game. For her efforts, she became the first player in program history to sweep all Major League Weekly awards: NAC, NUBA, NWBCA, ECAC, and D3Hoops.com. Worcester was also the first player in Husson women's basketball history to be named to the D3Hoops.com Team of the Week. The junior captain also set new NCAA-era single-season marks for points, scoring average, field goals made, field goals attempted, and tied the NCAA-era single-season record for games played with 29.
So, Kenzie, here's the thing with Kenzie. She won 4 state championships in high school. She comes to Husson. We've won 3 NAC championships. The girl hasn't lost, and she's a winner. And we're going to do everything in our power to help her win her 4th NAC championship, because nobody has ever done that. No one's won 4 state championships and then go on to college here at Husson and then win 4 championships. Not only that, but she was named the MVP of the NAC tournament for 3 years in a row. So as a team, we need to help her as a senior, reach that milestone.
Worcester, the fastest player in HU history to surpass the 1,000-point plateau in just 66 games, enters her senior season having scored 1,355 points with 254 assists, 394 rebounds, and 172 steals in 84 career games. She already owns the Eagles' career record for free throw percentage with 84.1, ranks second in three-point percentage with 39.2, third in points and scoring average with 15.9 points per game, fifth in free throws made with 281, seventh in field goals made with 479, 8th in three-point field goals made with 116, and 9th in field goal percentage with 47.3%.
This is a outstanding award that you're receiving, and you can add this to your list, and we're so happy and so proud of your accomplishment, and let's keep more coming in. So congratulations.
So it's my pleasure to present Kenzie Worcester with the 2018 Clara Swan Award. So John Smith, you come up next. I would be remiss to not mention that John is the first time in the history of these awards that a student has won it twice. He's the first 2-time Del Merrill Award winner in Husson's history.
John Smith was a 4-year letter winner for the Eagles as a tailback during the most successful era in program history from 2014 to 2017, while becoming the first male student athlete in Husson University athletics history to be named the Del Merrill Athlete of the Year in back-to-back years. The 2014 ECFC Rookie of the Year reached new heights in his final season in a Husson uniform by becoming the first tailback in program history to surpass the 2,000-yard rushing, total offense, and all-purpose marks en route to earning his 3rd straight ECFC Offensive Player of the Year honor. In the final regular season game of his career, Smith tied the program's single-game records for rushing touchdowns and touchdowns scored when he punched in 5 scores versus Mount Ida. After the senior day victory over the Mustangs, Smith helped the Eagles make program history with a 23-21 victory over the number 19, number 20 Springfield College Pride in the first round of the NCAA tournament on November 18th, marking the program's first win in 3 NCAA appearances and the first ever win over a ranked opponent. In the victory over the Pride, Smith carried Husson's offensive load as he rushed for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns on 43 carries, allowing him to become the first tailback in program history to run for 2,000 yards in a single season. The Husson finished their 15th anniversary season achieving double digits in wins for the first time in program history with a 10-2 overall mark.
It would be tough to sum John's career here at Husson in one word, but the 2 or 3 words that would come to mind would be passion, love, and accountability. John just had great passion for the sport of football. For his teammates, in return, they had great respect for him. John was about friendships, relationships, and championships. Passion, without question, is amount of passion. John just had tremendous passion, how he played the game, how he went after it, how he practiced, how he lifted weights, how he's with his teammates. But John was a lot more than any one stat. It was more about these kind of things like love and passion. He just had great love for us, and us in return had great love for him. the people around the athletic office, the AD, to the other coaches, to the school, to the teachers, just loved John, and John in return loved them. It was a great marriage for both. I don't know how to describe it. It was electric, it was magnetic. John just seemed to get along with everybody, he had a tremendous attitude with the training staff, and Janine and her crew, and Evan, he just had a great way about him.
The four-time first-team All-Conference selection led all of Division III in 2017 in rushing yards with 2,242, the ninth most yards in a season in NCAA D3 history. Rushing yards per game with 186.3, and tied for the most rushing touchdowns with Leanthony Resnover of Eureka with 31, while being ranked in the top 5 nationally in scoring with 15.5 points per game, the third highest, total points with 186, the second most, total touchdowns with 31, also the second most, and all-purpose yards per game with 195.42, the fourth highest. He also led the entire conference in rushes with 340, yards per rush with 6.59, and had multi-touchdown performances in all but 3 games this season. Following his impressive senior campaign, Smith became the first player in program history to earn New England College Division Player of the Year from the New England Football Writers, in addition to being selected to the NEFW Division II, Division III All-New England team, as the only player on the 2017 All-NEFW squad to be named to the team for 4 straight seasons. He also earned All-American honors with first-team selections from the American Football Coaches Association, the Associated Press, and the American College Football Network, plus a second-team selection from D3Football.com.
John had a great way about him that it was a practice, and it was a Monday or Tuesday. As the week went on, he got more serious, and he was always serious at practice. I mean, he ran hard, he'd run the ball, it'd be just a practice, obviously, that's what we're talking about. But he'd run the ball 30 yards, 35 yards, 40 yards. A lot of our players practice hard. They've just been tremendous, and John was one of them. So if he'd carry the ball and run 30 yards, we'd have to wait for him to come back. I think he grew with the week. Monday was a little bit slower because they're kind of sore and still celebrating or happy with their achievements after the last game, and it just reaches crescendo the closer you get to a game. But certainly his practice habits were terrific. One of the things in 4 years I don't think John missed a practice. I'm almost showing you talk about accountability. John certainly knew how much we counted on him. I mean, that's one of the things. He just gave us hope in that good things are going to happen. And we know that there shall be no end with hope. It's one of the greatest emotions, one of the greatest qualities in life. And every time we needed a big thing in practice, John would step forward. In a game, he'd step forward. I don't know how many, it's on John's DNA to let anybody down. So he could tell by the way the practice is going. We're having a great practice. He was always central to it, certainly more than importantly in part of it. And he would be able to take it. If things weren't going well, he'd step it up. If they're going great, the way it was, he'd continue that way. But John was great to us as coaches. You certainly know there's a line, there's players and coaches, and he never crossed it. And not that we didn't listen to John because he had great ideas and a very intelligent player. He'd tell us when he loved to play. He'd give feedback. Boy, that was a good practice. John won acceptance. I don't think he has any idea. He undervalued how much he was loved and respected by all of us, his teammates, his coaches. I'm not sure John's aware of that. So I'd say the relationship was excellent. He'd come in the office. He loved feedback. He did not like controversy. John's not a controversial guy. He wants things to go well, and he'd want to smooth things over and go well. If it got heated at practice, which it didn't often, but once in a while, John wanted to make sure things are okay with everybody. He's kind of a peacemaker in that. It's an unbelievable contradiction because he had such power and such passion and played so darn hard, but at the same token, he was a peacemaker. Very competitive, extremely competitive. The relationship was certainly on our part. We love and respect John and think the feeling's mutual.
The two-time captain was named ECFC Offensive Player of the Week 10 times, ECAC D3 North Offensive Player of the Week 3 times, Noontime Sports Offensive Player of the Week twice, and to the D3Football.com Team of the Week once. Smith is also the only player in program history to be a recipient of the NEFW Gold Helmet Weekly Award, earning his first following Week 5 of the 2017 season and the final one at the end of the season. The 3-time All-ECAC first-team selection is the only player in ECFC history to be named Offensive Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons, and the first Gagliardi Trophy, the nation's top D3 player, semifinalist in Husson University's football program in ECFC history. The most decorated football player ever to wear a HU uniform helped Husson post a 4-year record of 34-9 while capturing 3 outright ECFC titles in 2014, 2016, and 2017, and shared the 4th with Norwich University in 2015. A native of Fayetteville, Georgia, Smith attended Stars Mill High School.
I think we were playing down at SUNY Maritime this year. It was a tremendous win for us. I think we were 2-2 at the time, and they were the second best team. We did a podcast after the game, just talking about how great our players were on offense and defense, kick game. Conrad went back that night. And at the end of the podcast, this gentleman asked me about John Smith. And at that point, I paused for about a second and never said one word about John's athletic ability. Just talked to him about his leadership, about what he did for us, his accountability, how hard he practiced, and all the ways that he made our team better. He raised us to a higher level. The other thing about John, he came here with just one bag. It's an incredible story, and I know I've repeated this in the past, and he's going to put in that bag a lifetime of memories and just how much love there is. And I know this sounds conning that we're talking about this, but really, this is the end of the day. We're talking about human beings. It's about relationships. And then he's going to take a trunk full of mementos and awards and all the great things from being All-American, rushing for 7,000 yards. When you think about it, it's just an unbelievable stat. None of those things would happen without the intrinsic value that John possessed. In fact, all these Hall of Fame people here tonight, none of these, they wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame without these great things, without being great people of great character. That's what John's going to take home. And so much thanks from all of us. We just couldn't begin to thank him, but most of all, he's going to trunk full of everlasting life.
All right, one more round of applause for both John and Kenzie. It's now my pleasure to turn this show over to the chair of the Sports Hall of Fame Selection Committee, who will lead us through the remainder of tonight's ceremony. Please welcome Dr. Bruce McGregor.
Good evening. What a great evening already, and we are so pleased to see a nice crowd out here for our 2018 Husson University Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight we're going to induct a group of tremendous human beings who were tremendous student athletes here at the college and have established a bar that many of us will try to reach. And listening to the awards that were given out tonight, I think kind of piggybacking onto what Frank said, I'm sure that there are some that will be joining us in the Hall of Fame sooner than we think. I would like to start off by introducing our Hall of Fame committee. They labor over this, who to select. We have a large list, we cut it down, and we keep talking about it, and then finally we decide on who should be and who has earned and who is so respected that they should enter a very prestigious Hall of Fame. And so if I could, I know they're not all here, but I'll read their names, and if they just stand, and after they have stood, at the end, if we give them a round of applause. But our own athletic director, who we are thankful for all he does, Frank Pergolosi, Warren Caruso, Mary Whitehead, Dewey Martin, Sue Allen, Bobby Campbell, Sue Skinner, John Boucher. This is our committee. Please give them a round of applause. Well, tonight, we're going to induct 9 outstanding student athletes, one very, very successful coach, and a 1975 women's basketball team that set the bar for teams of the future. And so our procedure will be this. We will show on the video the information about the inductee. And then at the conclusion of that, I would invite up the inductee plus the person who presented them. We will present them with their award, and then we would allow the inductee to say a few words. So starting with that, we're going to start with our first inductee. And our first inductee, if I get my notes all here, on the football field, number 55, graduated in 2010, John Benson.
John Benson is regarded as one of the best offensive linemen the Husson football program has ever produced. He was a 4-year letter winner from 2005 to 2008, playing for head coaches Gabby Price and Niles Nelson. Benson played on the defensive line in his first year as a member of the football program. He finished his rookie campaign with 15 total tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble in 6 games on the Eagle D-line, before being switched to the offensive line for his final 3 seasons. The 2009 ECFC first-team right tackle helped lead the Eagles to a program-best 7-3 mark at the time in 2008, advancing to the ECAC Northeast Bowl game, the program's first-ever postseason appearance. Following the historic 2008 season, Benson was named to the New England Football Writers D2-D3 All-New England squad, joining Matt Benson as the only offensive lineman in program history up until this point to earn any FW All-New England honors. In his final season, Benson captained an offensive line that only allowed the opponent to sack the Husson quarterback 5 times, the second lowest sacks allowed in program history at the time of his induction, while becoming the only offensive lineman in program history to serve as team captain for 2 years. He was also a key member of a Husson offensive line that blocked for Hall of Fame running back Julius Juice Williams and Justin Lindy. Benson finished his career with 20 total tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and 1.5 tackles for loss in 36 career games played. Benson earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in sports management from Husson in 2010. A native of Biddeford, Maine, Benson attended Biddeford High School. He and his wife Courtney reside in Biddeford, Maine with their children Ella and Aspen. Benson is currently a carpenter for Mousom Valley Millwork in Springvale, Maine.
It's a great honor and a great pleasure to welcome John to the Husson Hall of Fame here tonight as a football player. Congratulations, John. Congratulations to your family. It's a warm welcome to everybody who came with John tonight, his wife, children, and his family. And John came to us from Biddeford High School in Biddeford, Maine as a complete football player. Biddeford High School had a tremendous culture, great coaches, and a wonderful tradition. John came here as a complete football player. His coaches inspired him, and his mentors in high school inspired him to be a great player. John never failed him. He played here with other Biddeford football players that he knew from high school, and one of them being his brother, Matt. Matt was an outstanding player, an All-New England player, as John was. At that time, the only 2 All-New England linemen would have had, John and Matt. If you took a mental picture of what a football player should look like, you'd have a picture of John. If you just close your eyes for a minute, he's much more than that, but just as a football player, he's just tremendous as a player and just did great things for us. I'd like to have Nat Clark, our offensive assistant head coach of football, speak about John as a player.
Thanks, Coach. It's absolutely my pleasure to speak on John Benson's behalf. I was John's offensive line coach his time here at Husson, and John was a great player. And I think about some of the characteristics that John has that made him a Hall of Famer. Obviously, he was athletic. Obviously, he was strong. He had great instinct. He played very smart, and he played with a lot of competitive fire. A lot of intrinsic values that John brought to the table. We'll talk about his leadership. John was a great leader, and he led in many different ways. He led by example. I think everyone kind of looked up to John, and he also was very vocal. He wasn't certainly afraid to speak his mind to other players, to coaches, to anyone around, and I think that's what kind of made John special. But he was just a great leader, and I think everyone looked up to him. The other thing that John brought to the table was his competitive fire. And again, Coach and I, we don't compare players, and we've had so many great players over the years here at Husson, but I don't know if there's anyone more competitive than John Benson. Whether it was practice, game, weight room, John just brought it to the table every single day. So competitive. He wanted to win, and he wanted to play well. And I think, and more importantly, he wanted the team to do well. As a player, as Coach mentioned before, John was the whole package as an offensive lineman. He was strong, He was tough, very physical, 265 pounds. Really, as Coach mentioned, when you look at an offensive lineman, John was certainly met every quality that we wanted. In the run game, John was just dominant. And again, for people that don't know much about football, back in 2006, 7, and 8, we loved to run the football. We still do. But at that time, we were in the I formation, under center, and we would ask John 20 to 30 times a game to beat the guy in front of him, one-on-one. And John did that, and that's why we were so successful. In the pass game, John was a tremendous pass blocker. And in his time at Husson, I'm not sure that John ever gave up a sack. And he was just, again, he was a great athlete, tough, and did so many great things. Lastly, John was a great puller. And what pulling is in football, for you that don't know, is when John gets out in the open field and he serves as a lead blocker for our running backs or ball carriers. And at 265 pounds, John was a great puller. And he'd get out in front there and use his athletic ability and his toughness. And you know, Coach and I talk about it all the time about this being a dream job. And I think John Benson was a great example of why it's a dream job. Came to work every day, practiced hard, he played hard, he was a leader, everyone looked up to him. As a coach, you know, you use the word coach's dream all the time. Not only was John a phenomenal football player, all New England, all conference, but he was a coach's dream. And when you come to work every day and get to work with guys like John Benson, it makes this a dream job. So all those reasons, it is certainly my pleasure to introduce John Benson into the Husson Hall of Fame.
First, I'd like to start off by thanking the whole committee on this election. I am very honored to be standing up here tonight. Thank you so much. And then I'll go right into the coaches. The coaching staff, when I played, they were tremendous. And I know that they said in the video I was a coach's dream, but I think they know deep down that they didn't like me yelling at them. So at times, I am a very competitive person, and at times it would get the best of me, but it was all in good heart. I also want to thank my parents, because unless we were traveling to upstate New York, I don't think my parents have ever missed any of my football games starting from a little kid. So I really thank you for that, for being there every time. Also, my brother Matt, his name was mentioned in that film, and I can honestly say I am the player that I am because of you. And it's not just, it's mostly the competitive nature of it, because growing up, when I was 2 years younger than him, and growing up, I was a sophomore when he was a senior. When he was a senior, he was all-state lineman. So I was like, all right, so that's what I gotta go get. And every year, he would get another one, and get another one. I was setting the bar pretty high. And that's what drove me to just become a better football player every day, is I always wanted to catch him, I always wanted to be better, I always wanted to try to be better. And thank you for that, because if you weren't doing that, I don't think I'd be up here today. So thank you. I am gonna keep it nice and short, keep the night going on, but I do have one more thank you that I wanna get out there, and it's to the one person that probably none of this would ever have happened if it wasn't for her. So Janine, thank you very, very much for keeping me on the football field during the years I was there. I know I was probably a pain a lot. I was in there for many hours, but truly thank you so much for everything that you and your staff did during the years I was there. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody.
Congratulations, John. Our next video will be of number 88, field hockey. Kelly Beasley.
The first field hockey goalie and the second letter winner in program history to be inducted into the Husson Sports Hall of Fame, Kelly Bacino Peasley posted a 2.22 goals against average with 11 shutouts and a 31-31 record in 63 games played. She registered a .776 save percentage with 462 stops in 4,187 minutes between the posts, while starting every game save one she played in from 2004 to 2007.
Kelly was a person that was always ready for a challenge. She never backed down. She took advantage of the opportunity to play for field hockey. I think one of the things I really want to say is that Kelly has a unique story when coming to play field hockey. Kelly didn't start playing field hockey till her junior year in high school, and so her learning curve was straight up. She was willing to take on the role of playing goalie. She came from playing soccer as a youth, so she had a great understanding of defense, and she knew how to work with defenses and kind of how to see the field, so it really made it easy to coach her.
As a senior, she helped lead the Eagles to a program record 12-5 overall mark at the time and a 7-1 mark in NAC play en route to the program's first ever NAC regular season title and NAC championship final appearance. During her senior campaign, Bacino set the program's single-season record for wins by a keeper with 12 and held it for 10 years. Bacino was selected to a pair of all-conference teams in 2006 as an honorable mention honoree and to the second team in 2007.
I think Kelly's spirit, if you know Kelly as a person, she's very upbeat, she's not condescending at all, she's very accepting of people, and that she has a way to just make you feel comfortable, but she also has this competitive spirit that she wants to perform for you because she's part of that team, and she brings you to that level where everybody's working together and having success at the same time. It's not because she was the goalie, it's because they worked as a team.
She's one of only 2 goalkeepers in program history to wear the C when she was selected as a captain her senior season. At the time of her induction, Bacino ranks as the Eagles' career leader in goalie games played, goalie games started, goalie minutes played, saves, wins, and shutouts. While earning her master's degree, she served as an assistant coach with the Husson field hockey team in 2008. Bacino earned a Bachelor of Science in Accounting and a Master's of Science in Business Administration from Husson in 2009.
She was always wanted more, and because she was new to the sport, it was always a new experience, and she liked those new challenges. But she also it was new to her family too, because they grew up watching soccer. Her parents came to all her games and watched, followed her around. So she had a new kind of interest and a new passion to follow, and she just fell in love with the sport.
A native of Waterville, Maine, Bacino attended Erskine Academy. She and her husband Hunter reside in Jefferson, Maine with their children Murphy and Irvin. Bacino is currently a manager at Whitfly McPage.
It's my honor to induct Kelly Bacino into the Husson Sports Hall of Fame.
My husband and I wasn't going to cry, so we'll see how this goes. What a surprise it was to receive a call from Bruce this spring. Once I heard the news, I was speechless, but immediately started recalling my fond memories at Husson. This is such an honor, and I want to thank the committee for selecting me with this impressive 2018 Hall of Fame class. Field hockey was a sport that unexpectedly presented itself when another athletic path was coming to an end. With the time and knowledge shared with my high school coaches, one of them who's here tonight, I quickly became acclimated to the sport and developed an admiration for the game. I've gained so much from playing field hockey, and specifically being in the position of goalie. That would be patience, resilience, determination, the importance of communication, and seeing the big picture in sports and field. These attributes have helped me both in my personal life and in my professional career. There are a few people that I want to thank and recognize. My Husson teammates, coaches, and trainers. I'm in awe of your talent and appreciate your drive and our shared goal of success. Mrs. Stout, you were instrumental in teaching me the game position, which has taught me life lessons that I carry with me today, and has provided countless memories that I'm very fond of. So thank you. Thank you to my parents who have been and continue to be my greatest supporters and cheerleaders. They followed the team wherever we went, traveling an hour to home games, over an hour, and then making multiple trips to Massachusetts, Vermont, for regular season and postseason play. You can probably count on one hand the number of games they missed in my 20 years of athletics. And, my brother would say the same. So you know I wouldn't be standing here without you today, so thank you for everything. To my husband, you're my partner in life, and I'm so grateful to have you by my side through this crazy adventure. And then to my babies, they're my greatest gift. And I love you more than words can describe. Thank you again to the committee. I'm humbled by this honor, and congratulations to my fellow inductees.
Our next inductee graduated in 1971, Keith Brown. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Let's stop back. I take that back. Our next inductee is a very, very successful coach, and we are honoring her tonight, Coach Amanda Burgoyne.
Coach Amanda Burgoyne is credited with building the Husson University softball program into a regional power, amassing 188 wins with 5 conference championships in her 7 years at the helm of the program. Burgoyne inherited a program in 2007 that had 1 winning season in the previous 9 years, and just 2 seasons later helped the Eagles post the program's first ever 30-win season and rode to its first NAC regular season title.
You know, she kind of just expected them to do well. She still congratulated them and all. I guess the best moment was probably the 2013, the first NCAA win. We were in our 5th straight tourney, and we hadn't broken the ice yet, and we came a long way. And when we finally got that win, on the field she acted very matter-of-factly, but afterwards when we were doing some private time, she kind of let her emotions go a little bit, and that was rare for her. But you know, she felt it inside, but she really was such a leader. So I think it was that first NCAA win would be the icing on the cake.
From there, the program won 7 straight NAC regular season and conference championships, in addition to 7 consecutive trips to the NCAA championship tournament from 2009 to 2015, with Burgoyne coaching the first 5 and being credited with laying the framework for the last 2. She endured just 1 losing season and went 117-16 versus conference foes, including reeling off 36 consecutive conference victories from 2008 to 2011. Husson reached the 20-victory plateau in 6 of Burgoyne's 7 years and posted 30 or more wins 3 times, including the 2012 team, which posted a record 33 wins at the time of her induction. The program's first ever national tournament win came during Burgoyne's final season, a 1-0-8-hit combined shutout victory by Kayla Merrill and Amanda Ryan over Bridgewater State University. Burgoyne is the North Atlantic Conference's and Husson University's all-time winningest coach with a 188, 108, and 1 mark at the time of her induction, and was named NAC Coach of the Year in 2008 and 2009.
And she has such passion to make everybody better. And it's not just better on the field, just be a better person, better student, but it showed on the field. She just incredible passion to make everyone better. And God knows there were better assistant coaches out there available than me. And she made me better. But that's how she was. She really had that. She had a way to motivate everyone individually and as a team. Some coaches only have one style and they have to use it for every player. the same style. She adapted to every player differently. She had a team. You know, there were minimums that had to be met for the team. You had to be this way because the team came first, and that was always the thing, the team, the team, the team.
A native of Caledon, Ontario, Canada, Burgoyne and her husband Kevin reside in Winnipeg, Manitoba, with their sons Brendan and James. Burgoyne currently teaches at Husson University in the College of Business.
I am so pleased and honored to present Coach Amanda Burgoyne for induction in the Husson University Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Coach Brunis, for the introduction. This is a special day, and I'm happy you're here to share it with me. I want to start by thanking the Hall of Fame Induction Committee for recognizing my coaching accomplishments. And as if being selected into the Hall of Fame wasn't enough, I'm really happy to be selected alongside a former player. Congratulations, Dottie. I also want to congratulate all the other inductees who are here today. It's an honor to be going in with such an outstanding group. And thank you to former players Amy Price, Brianna Webster, Cody Lyon, and Diane Ramsey for being here today. Diane, I was thrilled when I got the word that you'd be taking over the Husson program. I know you'll do a great job. There are a lot of other people I want to thank tonight because this isn't really about me, but it's about those people that pushed me in the right direction. So first of all, my parents. They were always very supportive and saw early on how much softball meant to me. They were the ones that instilled the structure, discipline, and preparation that's needed to be successful. It's funny though, because growing up, softball wasn't my favorite sport. So some of you know I'm from Canada, where hockey is the natural sport to play, and it's part of our culture. So hockey was actually my favorite sport. Unfortunately, I wasn't as good at it as I would have liked to have been. But when I started taking my official visits to go check out colleges for softball, I would always try and talk to the hockey coaches. And funny, no one would ever want to talk to me about playing hockey. Once in a while, finally I got an overnight visit at Mercyhurst with softball. And I met the hockey coach, and I said, I asked him what I needed to do in order to play hockey. And the conversation kind of went like this. He said, what other colleges are recruiting you to play hockey? I said, no one. He named off the top teams in my area and said, which one of those do you play on? I said, none of those. He goes, well, to answer your question, what you need to do is you probably need to play softball. And that was that. He was honest and direct. Now, I can't even tell you what his name was, where he is today. I never had another conversation with him, but something stuck with me, and it was his honesty with me. So it's helped me not only as a coach, but as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, to be honest and direct with people. It's not to be mistaken for being rude or blunt, but honest feedback is one of the keys to growth, and it saves everyone's time in the long run. I went on to play softball at Canisius College and then later transferred to St. Bonaventure University. St. Bonas was everything I envisioned college would be like. My college coach, Mike Threehouse, taught me so many things, especially to respect the great game. It was during this time that I really began to learn the X's and O's of softball. And it was almost like an epiphany. This is where I really started to love softball. So I kind of began to put hockey to the back of my mind. Coach House has been a mentor to me over the years. He was always somebody that I could call and ask questions to, and I will always value what I've learned from him over these years. I took my first coaching job as a grad assistant for a Division II school in Nebraska. I spent 2 years learning the daily operations of the softball program. And during my second season, the head coach was actually fired, and I became the interim head coach. And I guess what I learned most then was what not to do as a softball coach. Coach Gabby Price. So I'm not even sure where to begin. You've done so much for me. I don't have enough time to even give you the amount of credit that you deserve. You're the one that took a chance on me and hired me to lead the program back in 2006. And funny story, I remember coming for my interview, and I drove out with my mom from Huntsville, Canada, and we stayed in a hotel, and that morning I called you, and asked you if I had to dress up for the interview. Looking back at myself, my younger self, I could about die. And then later that evening, you actually invited my mom and I to your house for dinner with you and Mary. And I don't know that you remember what I wore, but I wore sweatpants. So again, looking back at my younger self, I could about die. But I did go and get a dress for this event, so I have grown up a little bit. But anyways, thank you for looking past all that and taking a chance on me. Our conversations early on had a huge impact on how I coached. You always gave the best advice and always seemed to know what to do in any situation. Not sure if you know this, but there was a little acronym that went around Husson between coaches, and it was WWGD. What would Gabby do? So when you weren't around and I didn't have the answer to a question, I just say to myself, WWGD, what would Gabby do? Gabby, I just want to say thank you. More people like you in the world, and it would be a better place. Coach Bronis, thank you for showing up for every game, every practice, and every team party, ready to teach and ready to help. Thank you for recognizing and pointing out when players did something right or when they made improvements. I wasn't always good at that, and you always made sure to tell me so that I could recognize it. And my players. So I want to thank all the players who ever came through the program. Their hard work, dedication, and commitment are what made the program successful. I will forever be grateful for the experience with these young ladies over my 7 seasons, because so many lessons were taught and learned, not only about softball, but about life in general. And Bob and Fran O'Keefe. So they really wanted to be here tonight, and unfortunately they couldn't, but I still need to thank them, even though they're not here, for their generous support. So their contributions changed the athletic experience for numerous student athletes. They gave us a great field and anything else that we wanted. Was that a bell for me to get down? Is that what that was? I'm almost done. Bob not only invested financially in the program, but he was also invested emotionally. So it was really important to me that somebody else cared about the program so much. He had to know everything. He had to know who the starting pitcher was going to be, who was working hard, who I was recruiting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And many of the coaches in the room can kind of know what I'm talking about when I say he would always send these emails. So the ones where you get on the bus, it's been a tough loss, you get on the bus, you check your phone, and there's an email that says, wow, you guys really stunk the place up. And it's all in capital letters, right? You guys know what email I'm talking about. Anyways, thank you, Bob and Fran. Okay, I'm almost done. My kids, so having them has shown me that balance is important in my life, and they reminded me that there's more to life than softball. And my husband, Kevin, taught me there's more to life than softball, too. He taught me that there's football.
Congratulations, Coach. I think I've said this before, but graduated 1971, Keith Brown.
A two-sport athlete from 1967 to 1971, Keith Brown played 4 years as a member of the Husson baseball team and 3 with the men's basketball team, but is better known for his accomplishments on the diamond than on the hardwood. Brown posted a 20-9 record with 191 strikeouts, 13 complete games, and 4 shutouts, while only issuing 59 walks in 205 innings. He posted a career earned run average of 1.01 and a .9 whip, while striking out 8.39 batters per 9 innings, allowing 5.53 hits and 2.59 walks per 9 innings, and holding his opponents to a 170 batting average in over 4 seasons under Hall of Fame head coach Del Merrill. Not only was Brown one of the elite starting pitchers in program history with 22 starts, he also exceeded out of bullpen with 13 career relief appearances, including one memorable outing on May 21, 1969. The outing came during Game 2 of a doubleheader at Aroostook State College, known today as the University of Maine at Presque Isle, when Coach Merrill brought him into the game in relief of fellow Hall of Famer Ron Soucy, who had already thrown a perfect game versus Aroostook State in Game 1 and by this point had now retired the last 33 owls he faced. Brown picked up right where Soucy left off and retired the final 9 batters of the game to combine with Soucy to throw the program's last perfect game. As a senior, he posted one of the best pitching seasons in team history when he went 6-1 with a .57 ERA, 7 complete games, 2 shutouts, and 70 strikeouts in 63.3 innings as the main workhorse for Coach Merrill. Brown was also one of the best hitting pitchers in program history, hitting .333 with 3 doubles, 11 runs, and 16 RBI, while walking 14 times and only striking out once. He also had a .377 slugging percentage, a .442 on-base percentage, and an .819 on-base slugging percentage. During his career, Husson posted a 4-year record of 57-21 and captured 2 Northeast Collegiate Conference titles in 1969 and 1970. He and his fellow Hall of Fame teammates, Susie, John Sinclair, James DiAgostino, Richard Morano, and James Arnow, all helped lead the Braves to the program's first ever NAIA District Championship final in 1968, losing to Quinnipiac College 5-0 after defeating New Haven College 4-2 for the program's first ever postseason victory. In basketball, Brown tallied 137 points and 100 rebounds in 24 career games played, while shooting 41.9% from the floor and 69% from the free throw line.
Good evening. I am so pleased to have this opportunity to induct Keith Brown into our Husson University Sports Hall of Fame. He's an amazing athlete. If Keith were to tell you, he's probably a better basketball player than he is a baseball player. But here we are tonight, inducting him into the Husson Hall of Fame as a baseball player. Keith was a very good basketball and football and baseball player in upstate New York. He was all conference in 2 of those sports, baseball and basketball. And after high school, he planned on going someplace to play basketball. However, thankful to Husson, he ended up here with Del Merrill. I wish Del was here to tell you more about him, because Del lived with him for the 4 years as they played many games together in baseball. But I was there during that period of time, and I did see Keith, and I saw his career. It was an amazing career. He not only was a very good pitcher, but he also was a very good hitter. He hit .333 and only struck out once during his time here at Husson. In basketball, he started playing here and in 1/2 scored 36 points, but he chose to put his energy into baseball, and I know Del Merrill was very pleased with that. Keith, over his 4 years, had an ERA of 1.01, but his senior year was really magical. In his senior year, Keith had an ERA of .57. He was a key factor in the great success that Husson had over his junior and senior years, where they had a record of 34-6. The one Achilles heel during that period of time was the University of New Haven. And Keith lost the game, the only game he lost in his senior year. He went 6-1 when he pitched a one-hitter against a fellow from New Haven who went on to play for San Diego in the pros and was the pitching coach for Baltimore, because he pitched a no-hitter. Amazing.
You know, when you look at our record books, his name's in the top 10 in a lot of categories back from the 60s, and it still stands. And I think that's a testament to the type of pitcher he was and how dominant he was. So I think his legacy is one of those guys that I think really probably early in years established the program and really set the bar. And within that whole group that he played with, there was a lot of great players, and it tells you how good he was at the time. And he obviously still is holding up records that he does.
Keith also, I watched him in a very unusual situation. He pitched along with Ron Susie, who was in our Hall of Fame, and Ron had pitched the first 7 innings of a game up in the county and had a perfect game. Del was so pleased with that, he allowed him to continue. Ronnie pitched for 3 more innings, continued the perfect game, and all the pressure was then on Keith as he came into relief. But guess what? He continued the perfect game, and for 2 7-inning games, that team never got a base runner, never was anyone on the base during that period of time. An amazing feat, fun to watch. So Keith, this is an amazing honor, but it's one that's well deserved, and Husson University is so pleased to induct you tonight into our Sports Hall of Fame.
be short. I will be looking forward to the campus visit tomorrow. I got to be the only one here that spent the first 2 years at the downtown campus. 2 buildings and an old hotel. And then open this for the next couple. Did you notice everybody else's pictures in color? That's right, my grandchildren, they thought they didn't even have cameras back then. At least you came up with some black and white, but you could lose that picture. I enjoyed playing baseball here. Coach Mack was a lot of fun. We knew when he came, which was my junior year, I think, that he'd be a great basketball coach, which he obviously was. Congratulations on the year. You've heard plenty. Goes back so far that I had forgotten most of it. I would like to thank Tom Branch, where he is. This man had to spend months in somebody's cellar digging out old scorebooks to come up with these. Just trust me, black and white, we didn't have computers and stuff at that time, so I don't know how you came up with all those statistics. I do have a couple of grandsons that play baseball. I had to explain to them that there was no such thing as whip and all these things you came up with. You made me out better than I was. I said, I gained a lot of points with my grandsons. Thank you. I'd like to thank Coach. I was amazed in May when I put on the message machine and it's Coach McGregor from 50 years ago. He says, I've been calling every Keith Brown upstate New York. Well, you got the right one. What do you want? He says, we're going to induct you to the Hall of Fame. I said, really? I do appreciate that. And keep some of those pictures. Thank you.
True story, I had about 4 Keith Browns coming to this event at one time. Next, number 34 in softball, also volleyball player, Emily Burrell.
A transfer from St. Joseph's College of Maine, Emily Burrell was a 3-year starter for the Husson softball team from 1995 to 1997 and one of the most feared hitters in program history. The 2-time All-Conference selection batted .462 with 81 runs, 27 doubles, 17 triples, 8 home runs, and 99 RBI in 98 career games played. At the end of her playing career, Burrell was the Braves' all-time career leader in batting average, slugging percentage with .767, on-base percentage with .523, on-base plus slugging percentage with 1.290, triples, home runs, extra base hits with 52, and total bases with 214. She ranked 2nd in hits and doubles, 3rd in RBI, tied for 3rd in sacrifice flies with 7, 5th in fielding percentage with .962, tied for 6th in games played, tied for 7th in bats and runs, and 8th in walks with 41, and putouts with 264.
She was very much recognized as a leader on the team. There's no question about that. She's a leader through action as well as through the way she played. I think I've got to say a double. She was quiet but strong. She was respected. She was liked. She was just a great teammate.
At the time of her induction, the senior captain remains the Eagles' all-time leader in batting average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, on-base plus slugging percentage, and is tied for the most triples in program history. As a junior, Burrell set the single-season record for most home runs with 5 and held the record for 10 years.
The first thing that comes to my mind is the fact, before I came to Husson, I coached at Old Town High School, and Emily was at Brewer High School, and so for 4 years she was the most feared opponent on one of our major competitors. And then when I went to Husson, she became just a very appreciated member of the team and as I've already said, a great leader and a very, very, very good softball player. One other story I might tell, Emily hit the ball as hard as anybody I've ever coached. I coached for a total of 22 years, so I've had a lot of kids go through. And she hit the ball extremely hard. One day, I was pitching batting practice, and she hit a ball up the middle, about 8 feet off the ground, headed right at me. Had it been 5.5 feet off the ground, I probably wouldn't even be here talking about it right now, to be honest with you. She hit the thing so hard, and it was just by me in a second. And actually, after that, I didn't pitch any more batting practice without a screen.
She posted her finest season in an HU uniform as a senior, hitting .500 to become the first player in 13 seasons and just the third player in program history to hit .500. While setting the program's single-season records for slugging percentage with .906, OPS with 1.451, hits with 53, doubles with 14, triples with 10, total bases with 96, and extra base hits with 27, and became just the 5th player in team history to drive in 40 runs. At the time of her induction, Burrell still holds the program's single-season records for slugging percentage, OPS, triples, and extra base hits. She also played 2 seasons as a member of the Husson women's volleyball team from 1996 to 1997. Burrell served as a captain during her senior season for both teams. Burrell earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Husson in 1997 and a Bachelor of Science in Business Education from Husson in 1999 with honors. A native of Brewer, Maine, Burrell attended Brewer High School. She currently resides in Brewer, Maine with her spouse and their son.
It is definitely my honor and a privilege to induct Emily Burrell into the Husson University Hall of Fame.
Better grade on the speech than I did in speech class with Coach McGregor. First and foremost, I would like to thank my family. It's been a long road to this point, from first being signed up for Little League Baseball at the age of 9. I remember my father saying, you need to learn to play baseball and compete with the boys. If you can hit a baseball, you will eventually have no problem hitting a ball twice that size. My mother made sure she was at every game, just in case a trip to the hospital was needed. And on more than one occasion, this became necessary. I would like to thank Husson University and the Husson Hall of Fame. I would also like to thank coaches Bob and Margaret Ackley. I had a chance to play for here in '96 and '97. They were also instrumental in getting me to play volleyball here for 2 seasons. I know them from their coaching days in Old Town when I was in Brewer from 6th grade on through high school. It was a great pleasure to get to know them on a personal level, not just as opposing coaches on the other side of the field for many years. I'd like to thank my many teammates and coaches through the years. It takes a lot of time, effort, and believing in you from a lot of people along the way to get you to this point. Lastly, although she is not here, I would like to congratulate Amanda Pomerleau on her induction last year. I played with Amanda for 3 seasons, and it's an honor to join her here at the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all the other inductees tonight, and thank you, everybody.
Next, number 13, graduated 2012, played softball, Dorothy Dottie, Cameron O'Donnell.
The 2010 NAC Player of the Year, Dorothy Dottie Cameron O'Donnell, led the Husson softball program to 4 straight NAC regular season titles and 3 consecutive NAC championships, with berths into the NCAA championship tournament during her 4-year career from 2008 to 2011. Cameron hit .355 with 128 runs, 32 doubles, 14 triples, 11 home runs, 107 RBI, and 54 stolen bases in 167 career games played under Hall of Fame coach Amanda Burgoyne. The 2-time All-Conference first-team outfielder also posted a career .524 slugging percentage, a .397 on-base percentage, a .921 on-base plus slugging percentage, and an .857 stealing percentage with 288 total bases and 57 extra bases hit.
So Dottie was a leader. We didn't really have captains. After a couple years, we got rid of captains, and essentially because I felt that like everybody brought something different to the table. So I would say that people viewed her as what I would call like a performance leader. So she was leading on the field. And I would say a performance leader is usually one of the most competitive people on the team. So she kind of got everyone to play at a high level. She brought the energy. She had really high expectations for her teammates.
The fearless outfielder enters the Hall of Fame as the program's all-time career leader in at-bats with 550 and hits with 195, and ranks second in games played and total bases, third in runs and RBI, fourth in triples, tied for fourth in home runs, fifth in stolen base attempts with 63 and extra base hits, sixth in stolen bases, tied for sixth in doubles, 14th in slugging percentage, tied for 16th in batting average, and tied for 20th in on-base plus slugging percentage.
100% every year, all 4 years that she was there, she was definitely our performance leader. And I think, having a performance leader like her brings, a good team to a championship team, and she definitely assisted in that.
Cameron also holds the program's longest hitting streak of 18 games and the longest reach base streak of 31 games. She was also selected as the conference all-tournament team in 2009 and 2011, while being tabbed as the conference tournament MVP in 2011 by Coach Burgoyne. Cameron earned a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and Psychology from Husson in 2012. A native of South Plainfield, New Jersey, Cameron attended South Plainfield High School. She and her husband Ryan reside in Bangor with their 3 boys, Nathan, Drew, and Cameron. O'Donnell is currently an assistant coach with the Colby College softball team.
One of the best things about Dottie that made her such a great player was the fact that she never let the pressure get to her. So there would be, she was never the player who would come into my office and sit down after a doubleheader and maybe she went 0 for 6 and say, "Coach, what do I need to fix? What do I need to fix? What do I need to change?" And that was really what made her a good player, because she always believed in herself. So it didn't matter if she went 0 for 6 one day. Like I said, she wasn't coming in trying to change things. She knew inside that she could do it and that she was a good player. And I think that's really what gave her the consistency over the 4 years to really put up the numbers that she did. It's my honor to induct Dorothy Cameron into the Husson University Hall of Fame.
I want to start off by congratulating my fellow inductees, especially you, Amanda Burgoyne. It's both an honor and a privilege to be recognized alongside you. You've impacted my life tremendously throughout my years at Husson, and I can't thank you enough, especially for all the board pushes. Thank you for continuously challenging us and pushing us past our limits and instilling in us what it means to be tough. I would also like to thank you for taking a chance on me and having me come back as one of your assistant coaches. Because of you, I found a whole new love for the game of softball. You are the reason why I ever wanted to coach, and 100% reason why I coach the way I do. I hope that I can only be half the coach that you were, and I'm so thankful that you were my coach, my mentor, and now my friend. To my teammates, I couldn't imagine of a better group of ladies to create such a culture that no matter how long it's been since we've stepped on the field together, you can still see it when you watch a game. I want you to know that you played a huge role in everything I've ever accomplished on that field. Thank you for calling me out and always holding me accountable, for pushing me day in and day out to compete at the highest level. Thank you for being my friends that turned into family, and most importantly, thank you for always holding the rope. I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. And last but not least, my mom, Mary. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for you and all the sacrifices you made for me. I cannot thank you enough for pushing me the right way, for never getting involved in the politics of high school softball, for teaching me at a young age that for teaching me at a young age that it's what I do after failure that defines the kind of athlete I am. For making me work to become the athlete that is standing here accepting such a prestigious award. All my years playing softball, you never expected anything to be handed to me. And because of that, I can say that I'm a better person, athlete, and coach. I wish there were more parents like you. I can only hope that I will have the same impact on my boys like you had on me, and I love you.
Congratulations. Next is number 25 on the basketball court, graduated in 2003, Lisa Dowdy Muth.
Liza Dowdy Muth was a standout point guard and is considered to be one of the best all-around basketball players to play for Hall of Fame head coach Kissy Walker because of her ability to score, play airtight defense, pass well, and shoot from the outside. Muth, a 4-year letter winner from 1998 to 2001, finished her career with 1,082 points, 408 rebounds, 222 steals, 449 assists, and 7 blocks in 107 games played, while shooting 36.5% from the floor, 34.8% from behind the arc, and 75.3% from the free throw line. She averaged 10.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 2.1 steals per game in her career.
Liza is a success story. What I'm most proud of about Liza is the fact that she actually came into Husson and was not eligible. She ended up working extremely hard, and the way she worked in the classroom was very similar to how she was on the court. She was very feisty. She never gave up. Just a real hard worker. She ended up getting her 4-year degree in business, sport management, and went on to get her nursing degree. And anybody who knows anything about the health field or nursing knows that passing those nursing state boards is not an easy task. And so, wow, for somebody to come in and, you know, be ineligible and then go on and get their bachelor's degree and then a nursing degree of all degrees is just amazing.
The 2001 Kodak All-American Honorable Mention selection will enter the Hall of Fame as the program's all-time career leader in assists and ranks 2nd in assists average, 8th in steals, 9th in three-point field goals made, 3-point field goals attempted, and free throws made. Tied for 9th in games played, 10th in three-point field goal percentage and steals average, 15th in field goals attempted and free throws attempted, 16th in points and free throw percentage, tied for 21st in field goals made, and 24th in rebounds. The 3-time All-Conference selection holds the 3rd most assists with 144 in 2000 and the 4th most assists with 132 in 1998.
Liza, I would say, was just an exceptional passer, and that was really obvious and evident by the fact that she holds the program record for most assists in a career. But boy, she could really make some beautiful passes, and anyone playing with her, they needed to be ready to catch that pass.
She was also a true leader for the women's basketball program over her 4-year career, as evidenced by her serving as team captain as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Dowdy is the only player in program history to serve as a team captain all 4 years. During her career, Husson posted a 4-year record of 66-42 and captured 1 Maine Athletic Conference title in 1999 while leading the Braves to 4 straight MAC championship games. Dowdy earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in sports management from Husson in 2000 and a Bachelor of Science in Nursing in 2003.
Liza was a great leader. In fact, when she came in and was ready to play her first year, she was selected to be the captain and ended up being a captain all 4 years. And I don't think I've ever had a player be a captain for 4 years. So she was one of those coming in from high school who was just really excited about, you know, playing college ball. She had been focused through high school, kind of knew what she wanted to do, and you're very unselfish. And I think anytime you have somebody who's an assist leader, you know, they're giving up the points, and you know, so she wasn't afraid to speak up and speak on the floor, but she also led by example. And you know, she took us into 4 championships and to an NAIA tournament, and I'm not sure that would have happened without that leadership.
A native of Herman, Maine, Dowdy attended Herman High School. She and her husband Jeremy have 2 daughters, Lydia and Madeline. Dowdy is currently working as a photographer and coaches middle school soccer and basketball in Herman, while serving as an assistant coach for the Herman High School varsity girls basketball team.
Liza, I knew when I recruited you that this day was going to come. And I'm so pleased, and it's a pleasure to induct you into the Husson University Hall of Fame.
First of all, I'd like to say that my 8 and 10-year-old daughters thought I was being inducted under the 1975 women's team. So I'm very excited. I wasn't born yet, but I'm happy to be a part of your team. They're still trying to figure out why I'm not with you. So. I'd like to thank all the Hall of Fame committee and board and all the fellow inductees also. This is quite a great honor to be here. I'd like to thank Coach Walker for recruiting me, taking a chance back in the day. I can remember we talk about the meeting in our living room where my mom was tickled pink to have you. My dad was definitely in his comfort zone, and you were just as nervous as I was. So thank you for that. Randy, thank you for encouraging and pushing us. It's great to see you in a little different environment back on the court. Me being the coach and you being the ref now, it's a little different. To all my teammates, thanks for working hard beside me and giving me some of the best friendships I still have today. To my parents, thank you beyond words for being my best supporters, teaching me the hard work ethic that Coach talks about. I hope I can pass that on to my girls as they continue to grow. Also, thank you for the endless hours of rides, hours on the court, the 2-versus-2 in the dooryard. Those are some of the best memories I have. My brother, who couldn't be here, I'd like to thank him for always pushing me and challenging me. He was 5 years older. So, Nana McSally, 89 years old, and you're here today still sharing in the moment. Thank you for traveling with us and always supporting us. I know that you'll never forget the bus ride to St. Joseph College, and I don't know if you remember Coach Walker. We won't talk about it, but. To my husband and 2 girls, thank you for supporting me through this crazy journey of life. I know that things get busy. We have very long hours in the day, and you guys do great. I'd also like to take the chance to thank Rick Sinclair he's also alumni and part of the, he's also in this. So he's encouraged me to get back out into the community and start coaching. I was a little shy to it, and so thank you for that, Rick. I appreciate that. That has led me to bring 2 of my players with me, Brooke Gallup and Allie Cameron. Allie's dad actually is alumni, and so is her mom from Husson. I hope you guys just get a little glimpse of when I am encouraging you, what all that hard work's for, and you see, what this is about and where it can lead you. So thank you, everybody, for inducting me into this. I really appreciate it. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Next is number 3, graduated in 2012 on the baseball team, Ethan Garrett.
Ethan Garrett is considered one of the best hitting middle infielders in the history of the Husson baseball program, playing shortstop for head coach Jason Harvey from 2008 to 2012. A 4-time first-team All-Conference selection, Garrett was named the Conference Player of the Year in 2010 and 2011, becoming the first Eagle in program history to be named Conference Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons and just the 9th Eagle to achieve the honor overall. As a senior, Garrett became the 4th player in program history to reach the 200-hit plateau with a home run against Linden State College on April 9th.
I think that the first thing is just a competitor. You look back at his career here at Husson and just the way he competed day in and day out. I remember multiple times we'd be in a big game and he'd come up and he'd get down to 2 strikes and then he'd battle off a couple pitches and then come up with a big hit. And that was Ethan in a kind of a nutshell. When you look at his career, especially on the offensive side, he could hit with anybody. He had great hands, let the ball travel deep in the hitting zone, and really did his best hitting when he had 2 strikes.
Garrett helped Husson post a program record 33-14 overall mark, including a 13-3 record in NAC play, capturing the program's first NAC title and berth into the NCAA tournament, which resulted in the program's first 2 NCAA tournament victories in just his 2nd season on campus. The 33 wins also marked the first time in program history that the Eagles reached the 30-win plateau, which included the 2nd longest winning streak of 13 straight victories. The senior captain enters the Hall of Fame with a .347 batting average with 166 runs, 48 doubles, 12 triples, 6 home runs, 100 RBI, and 70 stolen bases in 172 contests over 4 seasons.
Athletic, quick, tough. Those are 3 things that really stick out. When you look at Ethan, he was about probably 165, rugged kid. Really on the offensive side, once I saw him play, there was just so many things he could do to win a baseball game on the offensive end. He could hit for average. He had some pop in his bat, so he was able to hit the ball with some power, especially in the alleys. If he got on base, he was a stealing threat. And, I think he had a stretch to where he was, I think, probably 30 for 30 or 30 for 30, something crazy in that area. So obviously it allowed you on the offensive side, your team, to do a lot of good things, and having him at the top of the lineup was a huge addition and a huge plus on our offensive side.
At the time of his induction, he owns the Eagles records for career games played, doubles, and assists, and ranks among the program's all-time leaders in runs scored, tied for 2nd most, hits with the 3rd most, triples, tied for 5th most, RBI, tied for 9th most, stolen bases with 2nd most, stolen base attempts with 79, tied for 2nd most, walks with 82, the 3rd most, extra base hits with 66, 2nd most, sacrifice flies with 13, 3rd most, total bases with 311, 3rd most, and chances with 731, the 3rd most. He also finished his career with a .922 fielding percentage, a .488 slugging percentage, a .422 on-base percentage, a .910 on-base plus slugging percentage, and an .866 stealing percentage.
Yeah, I look back at the 2009 regionals. In the first game, Ethan actually dove into second and sprained one of his fingers and was unable to. It was his glove hand. Couldn't field it. Couldn't throw. We could still throw, but obviously couldn't put him in the field to play defense. So he toughened it out, and we kept him in the lineup as a DH. And I think he ended up hitting over 600 for the tournament. It was our first 2 wins at the NCAA regional level, and I look back and that was a huge piece of allowing us to have that success down there, was being able to keep Ethan's bat in the lineup.
The 2-time conference all-tournament selection is the program's all-time NCAA-era career leader in games played, games started with 171, at-bats with 637, runs, hits with 221, doubles, total bases, sacrifice flies, stolen base attempts, extra base hits, and assists, while holding the single-season records for doubles with 17 in 2009, sacrifice flies with 6 in 2011, stolen bases with 26 in 2009, and stolen base percentage with 1,000 in 2009. During his career, Husson posted a 4-year record of 101-75 and captured the 2009 NAC Championship, the 2011 NEAC East Division Championship, the 2011 NEAC Championship, and the program's only NCAA-era regular season title, the 2011 NEAC Division Crown. Garrett earned a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from Husson in 2012. A native of Wales, Maine, he attended Oak Hill High School and currently resides in Sabattis, Maine, and is an accounting supervisor at Patrons Oxford Insurance Company.
It is my honor and pleasure to induct Ethan Garrett into the Husson University Sports Hall of Fame.
Coach, I'll help you out on that. It was actually 42 for 42. Not much of a speaker, so I'll make it pretty short. I want to first thank the committee. It's definitely an honor being part of this prestigious group. It also gave my family the time to reminisce on the past. I know playing in it, it doesn't really feel like it, but seeing everything on paper is pretty surreal. The next I want to thank is my supporting staff. I actually had 10 people that I want to talk about, 7 of them players. We had 7 freshmen that continued all the way through the senior year. It was a hell of a group. We had a lot of fun, we competed a lot, and made a really good, lot of friendships out of it. The coaches, the funny thing about the coaches is we actually didn't choose each other. I came in actually under Coach John Winkin, and unfortunately for me, my teammates, and the rest of the community, Coach Winkin had a stroke during my freshman year, so in came young coaches. Very quickly, I learned that these coaches were very similar to me. They were feisty, competitive, and that all they wanted to do was win, even if it means getting ejected from a game. So Coach Harvey and I, it wasn't all roses all the time. There was one ongoing battle that we always had. I felt like I should have hit leadoff. So Coach, if you ever invite me back to play baseball, one stipulation, I'm gonna hit leadoff. But really, I had a lot of fun with these coaches and players. I have no regrets, and I'm glad these are the last memories of baseball that I've had. Then my family. First, my brother. I had the luxury of having an older brother who I could chase after, and he always set the bar. Unfortunately for him, I always passed that bar, and I let him know on the way. And then finally, my parents. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be standing here. Literally, they created me. They were always very supportive of me, and sometimes always a little over supportive. Just a little story, we had a wiffle ball field at the house. Very good wiffle ball field, by the way. And one stipulation was I could play as much wiffle ball as I wanted. I had to hit left-handed, or else it would ruin my baseball swing. Joke was on them very quickly. I learned to switch hit, and then they had no leg to stand on. But one last thing, I'm kind of a stats guy. I played in 172 games. 14 of them were in my freshman year of down in Florida. My parents weren't sure how it was going to work out, so they didn't attend. So that brings it down to 158 games that they could have attended. They attended 155 of them. So that means going to Rhode Island, upstate, New York, Vermont. They went to them all. So whether it be just one or both of them, the support was surreal. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for making every game feel like a home game. Thank you.
Next, number 18 on the volleyball court, graduated in 2010, Marion Kish.
Marion Kish is regarded as one of the best setters to wear an HU women's volleyball uniform and was a 4-year letter winner from 2006 to 2009 when she served as team captain all 4 years for head coach Pat DeBeck. The 4-time all-conference selection recorded 301 kills and 691 attempts with a .281 attack percentage, 1,949 assists, 353 aces, 741 digs, 32 total blocks, and 676 points in 95 career matches.
She understood the game better than most people. She wasn't the tallest. I mean, she's 5'8", 5'9", not the tallest out there, not the biggest jump, but she was smart enough to know where to place the ball. She could serve the ball well. She hustled. She did everything that you want out of a player on your team. She wasn't like the girl with the 20+ inch vertical that can really sky above, but she held her own against just about everybody, because she could outthink most of her opponents. And that's, I think, a very undervalued aspect to an athlete, to playing, whether you're Division III or you're Division I, is to be able to outthink them.
She enters the Hall of Fame as the Eagles' all-time career leader in assists per set with 617, aces, and aces per set with 1.2, and ranks 7th in attack percentage and digs, 10th in sets played with 316, 11th in points, and 12th in matches played. Kish led Husson to its third 20-win season in program history in 2007, before helping the Green and Gold capture the program's only NAC regular season title in 2008 with a perfect mark of 6-0.
Marion came into the program with a pretty nasty scar on her knee that she had an ACL injury that she had repaired, and coming into it, and while she was here, she dislocated both kneecaps, and one knee in particular she did twice in 1 year, and the other knee she did the following year, and she still managed to let them heal up and come back and want to play and continue to play all 4 years. And she played her last year, I think she might grudgingly agree with me, but in a fair amount of pain. But she loved the sport, she loved the team and everything. So just that kind of determination of through it, knowing that you can, there are things that should slow a normal person down. She was able to push through it, and I think they can take that they can push through these things as well and succeed.
She also helped the Eagles advance to 3 straight conference championship finals from 2007 to 2009. As a senior, Kish set the program's single-game record for the most assists in a 4-set match with 40 versus Castleton. Kish was also selected to the NAC All-Tournament team in 2007, 2008, and 2009, and was the first Eagle in program history to earn a weekly award from the ECAC.
If anybody's ever met her dad, Ken is a very large man. I think I've told this to probably Marion and Ken before, but the first day that I actually met him was very intimidating, because you look up and you just look up and you kind of go, "Hi, and how you doing?" And he gives you a handshake and it kind of engulfs your hand type of deal. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, remember not to get Marion's dad mad at me. Those type of deals, but he ends up being a big teddy bear anyways. But it's the first part of meeting her family. And I've been eternally grateful, because anytime I've gone recruiting since, she's helped out the program by supplying a place to stay down in Connecticut and stuff like that. So she's helped us out. So she's gone beyond. She's the alumni that gives back, which is, her and I will sit up a lot of times at night and just talk about stuff and reminisce. And so she knows, now everybody else knows, that yes, alumni give more than money back to their programs afterwards. There are other things to do.
Kish earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in sports management from Husson in 2010. A native of Wallingford, Connecticut, Kish attended Mark T. Sheehan High School. She currently resides in Wallingford, Connecticut, and is currently the owner of the Elevation Volleyball Academy out of Wallingford and Waterbury.
It's my extreme honor to induct Marion Kish into the Husson Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Coach DeBeck, for presenting me. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame Induction Committee for recognizing my accomplishments. I'm so very humbled. It is an honor to stand beside my fellow inductees, some of which we attended Husson together. Congratulations to you all. I feel very blessed to be back here in Bangor today. It's been a few years, and so fortunate to have had the opportunity to play at Husson. I actually found Husson by accident. I went to a college one of those college fairs, thank you, a college fair, and there was all these elaborate colleges that had these videos, and they were new, and Husson actually was in the corner with a little board. And I felt bad because no one was going over there, but I felt inclined to go talk to the person that was there because they were sitting there reading, and she really sold me. So, with that being said, I would also like to thank someone that is no longer with us, but John Winkin. I actually came up to do an open house, and I missed the roll call to the PT majors. And John Winkin said to me and my family, well, why don't you come with us to the sports management? You might like it. And with his enthusiasm and his respect for the school, he really sold me on the program, and then I met Coach Becht. So I would like to thank my mom and dad, Barbara Kish and Ken Kish, my father for embracing my passion for the sport in 6th grade. He started a youth volleyball league for girls. Though he knew nothing about the game, he wanted me to pursue my passion. My mother for sacrificing countless hours of her time, taking me to and from practices, tournaments, and games throughout my high school career, and my career here, coming all the way up to Bangor, both my parents. It's a 6.5-hour ride, to watch my games with a team favorite, Neil's Donuts in tow. Thank you to my brother Kenny, my biggest cheerleader, on and off the court, being towed to many events when he was younger, maybe not wanting to all the time, and being a part of all the conversations at home off the court. Thank you to my boyfriend Mike, who has been my biggest rock and support for the past couple of years while I've developed my career as a volleyball coach. Thank you to all my teammates through my career here at Husson. Volleyball is certainly a team sport. I wouldn't be here today without the amazing players I played with for those 4 years. Their abilities, support, and attitude shaped me and my success on the team. Lastly, thank you, Coach Becht. The most knowledgeable coach I had in my playing career. First time I met Coach, I loved his passion for his program. Showing me pictures of all his current players, explaining their roles on the team, and their accomplishments. His passion for his team and each and every player drew me to this program. Being a coach myself now, I certainly understand the meaning of patience, and I admire the patience you had with us. We bought into your system, and we certainly were successful under your direction. Thank you for all you have taught me and continually teaching me, being one of my biggest volleyball collaborators that I have today. Thank you.
Congratulations, Marion. Scotty, we're finally there. Yeah. I want to attribute to this young man with so many of his teammates showing up, coming from such long distances. But the next person is number 22 on the basketball court, graduated 1992, Scotty Nance.
Scott Nance is viewed as one of the best passing and defensive point guards in program history, playing for Hall of Fame head coach Bruce McGregor from 1989 to 1992. He tallied 833 points with 302 rebounds, 543 assists, 209 steals, and 7 blocks, while shooting 45.6% from the field, 28.2% from behind the arc, and 51.6% from the charity line over 145 games played. At the end of his playing career, Nance was the Braves' all-time career leader in games played and assists, and ranked 2nd in steals, 6th in assists average with 3.7, 7th in steals average with 1.4, tied for 7th in 3-point field goals made with 11, 9th in blocks, 15th in career 3-point field goals attempted with 39, 21st in free throws attempted with 248, and he also ranks in the top 50 in field goals attempted, field goals made, points, free throws made, and rebounds. To this day, Nance remains the Eagles' all-time career leader and single-season holder in games played. During his stay, he helped Husson to a 110-35 mark, including a school record 35 triumphs during his freshman campaign of 1988 to 1989. 2 Western Maine Athletic Conference and NAIA Division V championships in 1989 and 1990, and 3 NAIA National Tournament berths in 1989, 1990, including the program's only at-large bid in 1992. The 2-time captain steered the 1992 squad to the program's only national tournament victory, an 82-68 win over Philadelphia Pharmacy, to advance to the Sweet 16 of the 1992 NAIA Division II National Championship Tournament. Nance now becomes the 6th member of the 1989 men's basketball team that was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014 as a team, joining head coach Bruce McGregor, assistant coach Warren Caruso, and teammates Mark Taylor, Buster Frederick, Sean Bolden, and Bobby Campbell as individual members of the Husson Sports Hall of Fame. Nance earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Husson in 1992. A native of Trenton, New Jersey, Nance attended Ewing High School. He and his wife Rachel reside in West Hampton, New Jersey, and the couple has 3 children, Ari, a former airman, Sydney, and Mason. Nance has worked for the state of New Jersey government for almost 25 years and is currently an assistant division director for the New Jersey Civil Service Commission.
Well, it's really interesting how my coaching career started, because Scotty Nance was probably the first recruit I ever talked to. We were sitting around the office in the spring, and I told Coach Cole and I were going to New Jersey. He says, "Hey, why are you in New Jersey? Could you stop at Ewing High School?" And on our way back, we stopped at Ewing High School. Nicole sat in the car, and I met with Scotty and talked to him in the classroom for about an hour. I guess I had the recruiting speech down pretty good, because we ended up getting him. And I always chuckle back at that. I was still a senior in college. I hadn't even started coaching yet, but Coach put me to work already.
Well, you did a good job, because Scott obviously was so important to our program over the years. I mean, he still has played more games than anybody else here at Husson, and he led us to the national tournament 3 years out of his 4. Tremendous player for us over those years. Bob, you must have some thoughts playing with him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just, really unselfish. I mean, he never cared about his stats or anything like that. Always good consistency too. I mean, when I think about Scott, he was the original kind of like do your job guy. You always knew exactly what stat line you were going to get out of him. As far as points, rebounds. I mean, he was an awesome defender and really strong for his size. Anybody that thought they were just going to shove him around or whatever as an offensive player, we're sadly mistaken, because he definitely had that fire in him for sure. And just always, whether it was practice or the game, he pretty much just gave his total effort all the time. And again, just the unselfishness of him. So he just wanted to win. Just didn't care how we did it. It didn't have to all be because of him, for sure.
Yeah, the word that really comes to mind when I think of Scotty is gentleman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just a gentleman in everything he did, on the court, off the court. He was a tremendous leader. He's a guy that picked someone up if they were needed help, pick me up. He also kind of kick a guy in the butt if he needed it, but always did it with class and played with class. And he's one of those guys that came across as the nice guy, but boy, was he competitive. He had that competitive streak in him that when he needed to came out.
And what sticks in my mind too is the fact that you could walk in the gym and look down and see Scotty playing, and you really wouldn't know if the team was winning or losing, or was in a good spell or in a bad spell. He kept that even pace. He still had that fire. And he still was doing everything he needed to do, but you couldn't tell by just looking at what stage of the game was.
Yeah.
And I've always said this, and I'd say this with Bob and you too, Warren, and now Scotty. I think every coach should have Scotty Nance on the team, because they make coaching so much easier. What they bring to the table, and how they address their teammates, and how they are on the road, how they are in school. Just a tremendous human being.
And I think that speaks to the respect too, not only that you obviously have for him, but also his teammates. I mean, there's a lot of guys that may have talent and stuff, but to actually get the respect of their teammates along with that, and it goes to what you said about just being a gentleman, and respect goes hand in hand with that. And I know everybody I played with at the same time, because I played for Scotty 3 years, everybody respected him and thought highly of him, and knew they could always count on him if they needed in whatever situation.
Well, the response to him getting inducted has been, really as big as I remember. Guys have posted on Facebook, and sent an email or a text and say, Scotty Nance is coming, and they're making every effort to get back. And hopefully you're all here.
Looking forward to it.
And also, probably part of the reason is he made everybody better.
Yeah.
Because he didn't care about himself. He had a feel for the game. If this person was having a good game, he was going to get the ball to him perhaps more, and vice versa if it was a different game. But he made, if you look just at his stats, they're very, very good. But what he contributed is even more, because he made everybody on that floor a little bit better.
And you have to keep it in context too. I mean, he's the 6th individual off our '89 team to be inducted, and he played with 2 or 3 other ones, at least 3 other players at the time who were already in the Hall of Fame. So he played with a lot of great talent, and I think it speaks volumes to have him going in as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and celebrating with him for sure tonight.
It's wonderful, and of course, this is an honor that is so well deserved, Scott. And we are so pleased that you are now joining our Husson Sports Hall of Fame. Very well deserved, and we are honored to have you part of that. Warren and Bobby.
It's quite an honor. I'm a little emotional. It's not just because of the kind words. It's really the photos that they showed where I had hair. But in all seriousness, thank you, Coach McGregor, and the members of the Husson Hall of Fame committee. This is a tremendous honor, and it's been a humbling experience. In fact, for me, it's a little awkward simply because I never imagined I would be recognized in this way. But my wife gave me a piece of advice. She basically told me to embrace the moment, and so that's what I'm trying to do, just embrace the moment. I would also like to congratulate the other members who are being inducted tonight. It's a privilege for me to be part of a class with so much talent, so strong. Tonight, I'm happy to have with me my wife, Rachel, and my son, Mason. I want to thank them for being here to share this special occasion with me. My daughter, Sydney, wanted to be here, but she wasn't able to make it. She's back in New Jersey studying for college finals. I would also like to recognize some other members of my family that weren't able to make it tonight. Of course, my parents, Vernon and William, and my siblings, Tori, Kim, DeVal, and Donald, and a special aunt and uncle, Linda and Roscoe. I want to thank them for their love, support, and encouragement my entire life. So during my playing days, I was fortunate to play for some outstanding coaches, one of them being my high school coach, Eva Wandishin, back at Ewing High School in New Jersey. I thank Mr. Wandishin for the many lessons and instilling within me a sense of pride and tradition. Mr. Wandishin was instrumental in my college decision, and he kind of helped me find my way to Husson, so I'm grateful for his guidance. During my 4 years at Husson, I really had a chance to grow, and it was under a great coaching staff led by Coach McGregor, with assistance from Neil Waterman and Warren Caruso. I'm thankful the coaches took a chance and gave me an opportunity to play college basketball. This helped me fulfill a childhood dream of mine. And, you know, the words can't explain what it meant to me. I'm also grateful that the coaches, that they spent their time and effort to make me a better player and encouraging me, and also a better person. I want to let them know that their efforts, it made a difference in my life, and they're appreciated. Lastly, I just want to share some thoughts with you regarding my time here at Husson and what comes to mind when I think about that time. One, I played with some great players. Guys like Buster Frederick, Raymond Allen, Bobby Campbell, Mark Taylor, Sean Bolden, Kevin Hansley, Scott Brown, and the list goes on. And by the way, many of those guys are here tonight, so I thank them for being here. The second thing that comes to mind when I think about my time at Husson are the life lessons I learned. Things like persistence, teamwork, integrity, leadership, and a big one for me, dealing with adversity. There's not a day that goes by in my life where I don't apply something that I learned here at Husson. And finally, the third thing that comes to mind when I think about my time here at Husson are the bonds and friendships that were established. You know, basketball brought us together, but I think our bonds were forged, you know, when we spent time together in the dorms, or having a meal together in the dining commons, or when we were just relaxing down by the Kenduskeag, drinking a case of Meisterbrow. Yes, Meisterbrow beer. That's the only thing we could afford. You know, and although it's been 25 plus years, and we don't see each other as often as I would like, I just want to let the guys know that my love, respect, and admiration for them still remains. And you know, I thank them, and I'm thankful for them. So in closing, I just want to thank the committee again, Coach McGregor, Husson University. This is quite an honor. Thank you.
And now we will induct a very special team, which I had the privilege of watching most every single game. The team of women from 1975. They really established the winning tradition in the women's program here at Husson University.
The 75 basketball team was actually a team. We was all unselfish players. We worked well together. Everyone checked their egos at the door. It didn't matter who scored, as long as we won the game. That was the ultimate goal.
Led by Hall of Fame head coach Pam Hennessy, the 1974-75 Husson women's basketball team made Maine Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women history by becoming the first non-branch of the Maine University system to win the MAIAW Division A state championship en route to a program record 15-2 overall mark. The Braves began their quest to the state title by defeating the St. Joseph's College of Maine Monks by a score of 97-16. The 80.1 win still stands as the largest margin of victory in the series with the Monks. From there, the team would make the long road trip up 95 to face the University of Maine at Presque Isle. The Owls would prove to be the first team to challenge the squad. Having home court advantage, UMPI pulled a small lead and hung on for the 42-39 victory. From this point on, the Braves reeled off 6 consecutive victories over Colby College, 55-40, Westbrook College, 60-31, Bowdoin College, 74-22. The 52-point win still stands as the largest margin of victory in the series with the Polar Bears. University of Maine at Machias, 80-55, Bates College, 60-33, and Nason College, 72-19, before facing their all-time rival University of Maine at Orono. The Black Bears were the second team and the last team to put the bite on the Braves as UMO came away with the 67-56 victory inside Memorial Gym.
Well, I think the atmosphere was exceptional. The players got along, they worked hard. When they came into the gym, they all had one purpose, and that was to get better and to improve, and they supported each other. And sometimes off and on the court, I think that kind of happened.
We had one player on the team, Linda. DeVoe, and she'd always made it an effort to be nice to all the toll takers. She would pass out apples to them as we traveled.
Sue was a 4-year player. At the time when all this was taking place, a lot of our student athletes on the women's side were in 2-year programs. So Sue was a special kind of person because she was one of those that stayed and graduated and played for 4 years. And she was a great competitor, and she loved to play. She was tough, you know, she was not that tall, but she played strong forward for us, and she held her own. She was averaged pretty close to 10 rebounds a game. She shot well from inside. She took care of her teammates, because if anybody got pushed around, she was going to push back and guarantee that. And I think her fieriness probably the thing that I remember the most. We had 2 Karens on the team, and they were the co-captains, and one was from New York and the other one was from Buckport, Maine. And they played hard.
Yeah, I mean, they were a good duo. They played well together. You know, Karen Leach-Woodwell was a playmaking guard, and she was steady Eddie on the floor, and she read defense as well, and always hit the open person for the shot. And Karen Caputo from New York was a shooting guard. I mean, she was a prolific scorer.
The post players, we had Linda DeVoe, who was a starting post player, and she was a pretty good athlete. She played some other sports too, and she worked very hard. She got quite a few rebounds. She did get hurt occasionally, but at that time we had a backup for her, Barb Leonard, and she was another New York player, and she held her own. She was left-handed and kind of keep people off guard, having a post player at that time being left-handed. So I think we were really blessed because of our depth, if nothing more. We were pretty deep.
So the other forward on our team was Verna Eldridge, and she was definitely a long-range shooter. I mean, she would, anytime we needed a big basket, she was there. I mean, she wasn't afraid to shoot, you know, and she had defensive people in her face, and if anything, that encouraged her to shoot even more, because she wouldn't mind talking to the other players.
The turning point of the season came at the hands of the #1 ranked team in the state, the University of Maine at Portland Gorham. The Huskies fell to the up-and-rising Husson Braves 54-40 inside Newman Gym, as the Braves closed out the regular season on an 8-game winning streak, ending any other team's chances for the state title. Following the win over UM Pogo, the Braves won the Husson Women's Invitational Basketball Tournament with victories over Nason 91-34 and UM Maine Machias 78-38. Which led to the victory of the year over the defending state champions, University of Maine at Farmington, the only team to defeat Husson in 1973-74. This was the game that the Husson College Braves had no intention of losing. The 66-50 decision over the Beavers proved that the 1974-75 women's basketball team was one of the best teams in the state.
We had a great sixth player off the bench in Colleen Meenan. She was left-handed, which is always a good thing, and she just had great court awareness, and she was a savvy basketball player, could shoot the jump shot from the side, and she also had a knack for driving to the hoop and doing a reverse layup. You know, she had great ball handling skills, and you know, she would have started on many teams or whatever, but you know, where she was a freshman that year, so she played sixth player. A couple of players that came from Noble High School down in Berwick was Linda Matthews and Nancy Springer, and they both played a forward position, and they both came off the bench and worked hard in practice, worked hard when they got the opportunity to play, and pretty much did anything that the coach would ask them. Marie Duras, she came from Mexico, and that also became her nickname, which was given to her by Verna, one of our players that liked to nickname everyone. So she played, you know, forward or center position. She pretty much, whatever coach asked her or whatever position asked her to do, she would do that. Another player that we had from New York was Ginny Trainer. She was a good ball handler and played a significant role on our team. And I think that year she was voted the most improved player. She got better and better as she played. Ginny also had great hands and was speedy on the court. Unfortunately, there was a car accident and we lost Ginny in 1978. But she was a big part of Husson sports programs, and and played a significant role on our team that year.
The other two people we got to talk about is my assistant coach, and our manager. And both of those people love basketball. There's no question about it. And they wanted to be part of the team. And they both played a little before that. In the previous year, they had played a little bit, and they loved it. And Linda West was the assistant coach, and she did whatever I asked her to do. And she loved to shoot basketball, and she loved basketball. And she and Camilla worked well together. Camilla was the manager too, and I got them. A funny thing I can tell you about them was I gave them a checklist, and I said, every single trip you go on, you take this checklist and you mark down a check. Oh yeah. I'd say it every game, and I don't know if they did it or not, but I can tell you one time. We got up to Presque Isle to play Presque Isle, and we did not have uniform tops. And they didn't know who was going to come out of the locker room to bring the bad news to me, because they didn't know I might fly back to Bangor, but I didn't. And what happened was, I said, you didn't use your checklist, did you? No, I guess we didn't. Well, anyway, we had to wear Presque Isle's dirty shorts. They were blue and they were dirty. They hadn't been laundered from the game before. And I'd have to tell you, we lost that game, but we got Presque Isle in the state semifinals. So I guess it all came out in the wash.
After a week's rest, the squad traveled to Colby to close out the regular season with a 50-39 win over the Mules. All that laid ahead was the state championship tournament. The Braves defeated Colby College 63-45 in the first round, and the University of Maine at Presque Isle 58-38 in the semifinals, before knocking off a strong University of Maine at Portland Gorham squad 50-47 in the championship game. During the tournament, the Braves not only destroyed the long-standing tradition of a branch of the Maine University system in winning the state title, but set every team an individual record for the tournament as well.
Pam was driven, and she expected a lot from the team. She expected 100% be given all the time. But, she did have a sense of humor, at least most of the time. She was a great motivator. Colleen talked to me, asked me, she says, Sue, do you still have that booklet that Pam gave us the day before the championship game? And I said, I don't even recall that, Colleen. And so, but I am a pack rat, so I actually looked, and I did have it. And so she had put together a bunch of inspirational sayings, making sure that, everything we do in sports sometimes, relates to life, and just, motivating us, try to get us ready for the game. So.
And we get to ride in those cars, and sometimes Johnny would take his car, and somehow, by hook or by crook, we got to the games. And so, I remember the song, we talked about that, Catch Us If You Can. We thought that, we played that every single game. That all came about because we always got the ball out, and we loved to fast break and get the layup as opposed to have to work around and do other things. So.
When we were in a game, she expected us to be at full strength at all times. So she allowed us to pull ourselves out if we got tired, with knowing that we'd be able to put ourselves back in when we were ready. So it really encouraged us to, give it our best at all times, and gave us a lot of autonomy and yet interdependence as well with each other. Coach Hennessy, I think, really was ahead of her time as far as preparing us. She believed in serious conditioning preseason, and I think that really helped us as that year went on.
When the season concluded, the 1974-75 team had established new program records for points with 1,100, scoring average with 64.7, scoring margin with 26.1, wins with 15, field goals made, field goals attempted, free throws made, free throws attempted, and points scored in a single game, while recording the fewest losses since the 1961 season. To this day, the 1975 squad still holds the program's record for the best single-season scoring margin.
I think in reflecting over back in about sport and athletics has always been a part of me, and so my career was coaching, and then I became the athletic director, and my philosophy was that athletics should contribute to people way beyond the field and the court. And I think as I look to this team, they kind of reflect a different kind of success story. And I think what I would want as a coach is to have my players be successful, but I'd also want them to be successful in their life, even more importantly. And if we can learn those lessons as we go through sport, we've really learned a lesson. As a coach of the 1975 basketball team, I wish to congratulate everybody. They've been, for their success on the field and for their success of their lives, and it makes me very happy.
Drink our juice at the table.
First of all, I would like to congratulate all the other inductees, and we have had quite a few. Congratulations. I'd like to thank the Sports Hall of Fame Committee. I know what a job that is. And I also would be remiss if I didn't thank the SID department. I'll tell you, they're the people that worked, and they're the ones that put all these things you've been watching together, and I know the countless hours that took. So thanks to them. I'd have to tell you that if you ask me why this team was successful, I'd have to identify a few factors. And one of them, the first one, would be that we were blessed to have talent and we were deep. And the first thing that goes into all that is how you recruit. And I would have to, again, make a special notice that we had 4 people from New York, and they were recruited. And we had probably the best Maine kids that we could have, and that composite made us very successful. And one of the people that helped me with the recruiting process was Del Merrill. Del had a knack for, and I heard Bruce one time when he was speaking in one of the teams that was inducted, and what a good job Del did as a person recruiting. So we were lucky. He helped us out. We had those 4 New York people. They had really great basketball sense, and we were deep. And we had big people when other teams didn't have big people. We had guards that could shoot. We had playmakers. We were lucky. And one of the people that we had, and I want to just mention, was the Ginny Trainer, who came from New York, and she was very special to us, and she's the player that we lost in a tragic automobile accident, and we're deeply pleased that some of her family members came and to be with us tonight, and they're all seating here for the table. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I'm kind of a person that likes sayings, and that's why I put together for the team and gave it to them the night before we competed in the championship, was kind of inspirational sayings, which we were able to dig out. And so what I would like, my own saying for this talent pool we had was, you know, you can do a lot of things, but if you don't have the horses, you can't pull the weight. I don't know if that's a main saying, but if you don't have the horses, you cannot pull the weight. But we had them. So talent and deep pool was one of our things that we had. Another thing we had was a work ethic. And one of my most famous people, and really a person that coached women's basketball at a higher level, it was Pat Head Summit at the University of Tennessee. Very, very successful. And she talked about work ethics, and I want to just read a quote that came from her, because I think this described our drive and our work ethic. And it was, here's how I'm going to beat you. I'm going to outwork you. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I think that addresses work ethic. The next thing you have to have is teamwork, and you have to have unselfish people. And I thank the Lord that I coached in a time when many times we have today, and I still do a little volunteer work at the high school level and coaching softball. And the difference perhaps between the athletes of our generations and the new people, particularly in the high school rank, is entitlement. And we didn't even know what that meant. So I think we understood what it was to be, the teamwork was so important to us. And again, I have a quote from Pat Head Summit, and it goes like this: teamwork is what makes common people capable of uncommon results. And the next thing that I think is important for us is that to recognize that you have to have, in all athletics, you work hard, you play hard, you develop, you work hard in practice, but you gotta have a little luck. You've gotta have a little luck somewhere along the line that helps you out. And we got to play our game on March 17th, my favorite day of the year. Everybody has holidays that they like, Christmas, birthdays, whatever. St. Patrick's Day is my day. Forever it's been my day. I like to get dressed in green. I like to go to the Red Sox in spring training and have done it ever since I've retired. Watch the players compete, wear green. We were green. We had one set of uniforms, and they were green. And I went shopping to get my outfit for the state championship, and it was all green. And we won that day. So we had a little, that was our luck factor, and I'd have to say that we were all pretty happy. And the team we beat was University of Maine, Portland Gorham. They had a big kid, we named her, you know, I don't know if I named her, I think it was Verna. Verna named everybody. This player was 6'4", and she was bigger than we were. And we were, you know, we could go at 6'1", 6'2", but this kid was bigger, and she was tough. And all we did the whole week before practice, or in practice, was work like she was there. And we fronted her, and we put somebody behind her, and I think we pushed her a little bit. And we won the battle, and what we did was one time, I think we might have knocked her down, we probably fouled, but we knocked her down, and she just wouldn't get up. She just sat there. I said, we got this, baby. Anyway, this game was a tight game. We were back and forth, and we were, it was a 2 or 3 point game. It was under a shooting clock. We had to inbounds the ball, and we always had the same person take the ball out of bounds, somebody could see pretty well. And I said, see the court, not visual. So we had it set up, and we're going to inbounds the ball, and I took a timeout, and I said, this is it, we got to do it. We got to be careful, we got to get the ball in bounds. And Colleen Meehan really was an unbelievable 6th player. She had hands like you couldn't believe. Her ball handling skills were way above what we would see. She was left-handed. She said to me, and she really was sometimes uncommitted. Uncommitted in terms of what her role was, because she was a sixth player and she was a freshman playing on a team that was pretty good. And she said to me, Coach, and she looked me in the eyes, and the eyes were dark, and I could see the fire in the belly, and she said, you get the ball into me, I can take care of it. I said, you sure? She said, I'm sure. So we inbounded the ball, and they chased her all over the backcourt. They couldn't even get her, and the buzzer went off. So there's our successful story, and it was a wonderful group of people to work with. And as I said in the video, I think the lessons that we learned on the court are very valuable. We want to win, and but we learn a lot of things, I hope, from the athletics participation as well. And I think if you took a look at this team and some of the resume that they would have, we have CEOs and businesses, we have owners of family businesses, we have a New York attorney, would you believe it? We have a person that was an auditor for the IRS, now that's something too. We had people that coached, people who were teachers. I think it was a successful story, and we're all happy to be here, and this team is very special, very special. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to try to close this out fairly quickly here, but I want to tell you what's going on tomorrow. A couple things. First of all, the Hall of Fame room will be open at 11 o'clock. There will be food and drink in there. And at 11:15, if you meet in the Hall of Fame room and you want to tour the campus, because I know a lot of you have not been back for a long time, there will be one. And then at 1 and 3 o'clock, yeah, dress warm because it's supposed to be cold. Good. Athletic director always thinking here. The games are at 1 and 3, men at 1 and the women at 3. And at halftime of the men's game, just before that, 3 minutes before, we'd like you to meet all the Hall of Fame inductees, the team, everybody that's got inducted tonight, to meet in the foyer, in the back foyer, so that we can introduce you at the halftime of the men's basketball game. Let's see, anything else? Photos we're going to do right now. Monty, where do you want them to be? Up here or over that side? Okay. If all those that have been inducted and their presenters would go over there immediately afterwards before you start socializing, that would really be helpful. And we'll get all the pictures that Monty's going to take, and that'll be very helpful. We also like that group, showing the group all to be over there too, please. So as we wrap this up, we just had a tremendous group of athletes that have just been inducted into our Hall of Fame. Very, very worthy. We're so proud of you, and we welcome you with open arms into our Husson University's Sports Hall of Fame. Happy holidays to everybody. Safe travel. Look forward to next year.